Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Sonic Multiverse. Today, we're jumping back into what if Chaos didn't return to the Master Emerald. In part 1, Chaos's spirit was determined to make up for the wrongs it had done as perfect chaos. So the God of Destruction has become a silent guardian on Earth, protecting the Chao and the planet they live upon. In addition, the ghost of the young Echidna girl, Tikal, has latched her spirit on to the God of Destruction to make sure he stays on the right path. After the events of Sonic Adventure, they return to the Chao Garden to look after the young creatures, but a few months later, they sensed a disturbance as the Master Emerald was shattered. So the pair have set out to find its guardian. And this is where we'll be jumping right back into the story. Deep in the wild canyons of Sandopolis, a red echidna was on the hunt. He glided over gaps, charged through sand dunes, and destroyed anything standing in his way. As the warrior took a second to catch his breath, he sensed something from behind him. He quickly turned around to find a puddle of water, presenting an emerald shard. Though he was hesitant, ultimately the echidna picked up the emerald. As he did, a voice rang out to him. Guardian! The spirit of Tikal manifested itself, making her presence known. The echidna looked at her. Please, you can call me Knuckles. Very well, Knuckles. We sensed that there was something wrong with the Master Emerald. You could say that. This bat-faced thief stole the Master Emerald. When I came to stop her, Dr. Eggman arrived and tried to take the emerald from both of us. Not wanting it to fall into either of their hands, I had to break the Master Emerald. I knew I could reassemble if I found the pieces, but it could take a while. Both Tikal and Chaos were shocked at this news. They'd spent centuries in the Master Emerald. They knew just how important it was, so repairing it was their top priority. Wasting no time, the two spirits merged in a flash of light. Chaos now sported Tikal's Echidna necklace, with her spirit burning bright in the gem. Both Chaos and I will assist you in any way we can. Just show us the way, Knuckles. And with that, the trio set off to find the Master Emerald shards. From this point onwards, the events of Sonic Adventure 2 would play out more or less the same as it did in the original game. Knuckles, with the assistance of Chaos, would hunt down several shards of the Master Emerald and would eventually come across Tails and Amy. Tails was initially alarmed at seeing Chaos, but Amy was a lot more open-minded. The heroes and Tikal began conversing about the current events. Amy and Tails explained how Dr. Eggman, along with the assistance of Shadow and Rouge, is using an orbital research station known as the Space Colony Ark to hold the world hostage unless he is declared ruler within 24 hours. And in addition, the Mad Doctor only needs one more Chaos Emerald to be able to wipe out the entire world if the leaders don't comply. Chaos was infuriated. He had seen the Doctor's greed and evil firsthand, but threatening the entire world, and worse, the Chao that live on it, this was something Chaos would not stand for. Tikal could sense his rage boiling over. Calm yourself, Chaos. All will be well. We will stop Dr. Eggman. Hearing Tikal's words calmed Chaos. He recomposed himself and was willing to do whatever it took to stop Dr. Eggman. Whatever it took. Eventually, the heroes found their way onto the Space Colony Ark, and after searching for the remaining pieces of the Master Emerald, Knuckles and Chaos found the jewel thief behind this whole situation. Long time no see, treasure hunter. Have you found my emeralds? Your emeralds? Ha, that's a good one. Hand over the Master Emerald. But before Knuckles could even finish, Chaos slashed at the jewel thief, catching her off guard and knocking her off of the platform. The bat was injured and couldn't fly, as she fell towards a magma pit below them. But Knuckles, acting quickly, caught her at the last second. Whew, that was close. You okay? Let go of me. What's the matter with you? I just saved your life. You probably just wanted to hold my hand, didn't you? Knuckles ignored her comment and turned towards Chaos. What do you think you're doing anyway? We don't throw people off cliffs. Especially not when they're holding the rest of the Master Emerald. Chaos gave no audible response. Fine, if you two want the Emerald Shards so badly, take them. They smell like wet echidna anyway. She quickly threw the gems to Knuckles' feet. Thank you, ma'am. Call me Rouge, sweetie. Oh, and don't worry, I'll come back for the whole Master Emerald next time. And with that, Rouge flew off as Knuckles cursed out her threat. Meanwhile, Chaos was thinking to himself. He had done what he needed to do to get the Master Emerald back to normal, but was it the right thing? He couldn't question that at the moment. He needed to protect the world. He needed to protect the Chow, no matter what. The heroes try their best to neutralize the Eclipse cannon, but Eggman is able to get it fully operational and prepares to fire at the Earth. But that's when a video begins to play. Footage of Gerald Robotnik, grandfather of Dr. Eggman, begins playing across the planet and the Ark. Gerald explains that the Guardians unit of Nations had raided the Ark and killed everyone who knew of Project Shadow, and that included his granddaughter Maria. This drove the scientist insane, as he could think of nothing but revenge. So, as he was locked away in prison awaiting his death sentence, he was being forced to create new machines for Gun, and with his resources, he had reprogrammed the Space Colony Ark, so if it ever had all 7 Chaos Emeralds, the Ark would plummet towards the planet. And as such, the Ark was falling out of orbit, threatening the lives of everyone on the planet, human, Mobian, and Chow alike. As the heroes began to discuss a game plan, Chaos began to ponder to himself. Gerald seemed just as greedy and selfish as his grandson Ivo. Was this just in their nature? Were humans just inherently greedy? After all, Chaos had never met a single human that had treated him well. Even when he first arrived in modern civilization, their authority figures began firing at Chaos for nothing. Maybe the humans deserve this. Tikal, as her spirit was merged with that of Chaos, could hear his thoughts. Chaos, how could you think such things? Yes, there are humans that are awful, but they're not all like that. Many of them are kind and compassionate. Chaos didn't respond. At the very least, you need to help the heroes protect the world. Think about all the Chow and everyone else who lives on that planet. Chaos agreed, if only to save the Chow. Tails, Eggman, Rouge, and Knuckles made their way throughout the cannon's core, opening up passages to allow Sonic to race through. Chaos was naturally able to work his way through the sewer network of the Ark, and eventually, Knuckles, Sonic, and Chaos arrived at the cannon's core. There was an altar that Tikal and Chaos immediately recognized, closely resembling that seen on Angel Island. Clearly, Gerald must have researched ancient Echidna lore. Before they had a chance to admire the handiwork, a large beast landed in front of the heroes. This was the Bio-Lizard, prototype of the ultimate life form. Whatever spark of free will the prototype may have had been ripped away a long time ago, with its sole desire being to ensure that Gerald Robotnik's plan was seen to the end. Clearly a motive programmed in by the professor. Chaos stared down the prototype. Clearly it was not going to back down. And for the sake of all the Chow that lived on Earth, Chaos knew what he had to do. To defeat this monster, they would need a monster. Chaos dived into the moat surrounding the biolizard, swimming by undetected, and headed straight towards the Chaos Emerald altar. It was only then Tikal realized what Chaos was planning on doing. She begged him to cease these actions, but he couldn't hear his soulmate. He was one-track minded. He must protect the Chow of this world, no matter what. As this was all transpiring, Shadow had arrived, hoping to redeem himself by helping Knuckles and Sonic defeat the Biolizard. But that's when the Hedgehogs, Echidna, and Lizard all noticed a surge of light coming from the Chaos Emerald altar. Shadow was deeply confused, but Sonic and Knuckles understood what was about to happen. "Shadow, get to high ground, now!" The group raced up to higher sections of the room. What is going on? He's doing it. He's tapping into the power of the Chaos Emeralds. He's going to become perfect chaos again. Tikal gave one last feeble gesture, begging Chaos to stop what he was doing.
"Oh, Chaos, ancient god of destruction, I have known you in both life and death. You are a protector, not a destroyer. Do not give in to your hate."
But Chaos was sure that this is what he needed to do to protect the Chow of the Earth. Looking at Tikal one last time before giving in to his rage, he looked sorrowfully at her as a tear rolled down his cheek mid-transformation. Perfect chaos had returned. Any self-control the benevolent god of destruction may have had was long gone. However, there were a few notable mutations. Tikal's spirit was still latched to perfect chaos. As such, her golden necklace had grew with the neck of chaos, and golden shackles adorned each of his individual limbs, trying their best to restrain the creature, but to no prevail, as many of them snapped under the sheer power of perfect chaos. The water kaiju was unrelenting. It would destroy anything it deemed as a threat to the Chow, whether it was the bio-lizard, the heroes trying to restrain him, or the Ark itself. Luckily for our heroes, a giant cyborg orange lizard was far more noticeable than them, so perfect chaos lunged at the bio-lizard. The prototype defended itself the best it could, but its attacks did nothing to perfect chaos. The ancient god attempted to stab right through the bio-lizard's flesh, but its hard exterior was nearly indestructible. That's when the bio-lizard's one weakness was revealed: a giant, glowing, pussy wound. Perfect Chaos plunged one of its many dagger-like tentacles into the wart. The seemingly endless source of water that was Perfect Chaos began to fill up the bio-lizard. The creature's entire body began to swell up like a balloon. After mere seconds, the bio-lizard's flesh, which moments before was believed to be nigh impenetrable, was beginning to give out. Scales and flesh tore open, and one of the bio-lizard's cybernetic eyes burst under the water pressure, as more and more water jetted out from each pore. The prototype gave out one sorrowful howl as it finally erupted in a tidal wave of gore. The chunks of bio-lizard were washed away by perfect chaos, disappearing into the many sewer networks of the Ark. With the bio-lizard destroyed, Perfect Chaos turned his attention to the Ark itself. He wouldn't rest until it was ripped to shreds, as the entire space station was a threat to the Chow of Earth. Tikal's spirit flew over to the heroes.
"I can't reach out to him anymore. His mind is clouded by rage. You have to stop him."
Understanding what they needed to do, the heroes raced over to the Chaos Emerald altar. Knuckles placed the Master Emerald. With its power to control the Chaos Emeralds, perhaps he could put a stop to Perfect Chaos. Knuckles and Tikal began to speak together. The servers are the 7 Chaos.
Chaos is power. Power enriched by the heart. The controller is the one that unifies the chaos.
Chaos caught wind of this. He wouldn't allow the heroes to stop him. He wouldn't allow them to harm the Chow. So with one precise strike, Perfect Chaos slashed the Master Emerald, forcing it to shatter into bits once more. The emerald shards scattered, landing into the water connecting to the sewer lines and being transported all across the ark. The emerald was no longer an option. As this was all transpiring, the ark was still falling towards Earth, and Perfect Chaos's destruction was only hastening its descent. It's hopeless. We can't win. Shadow's voice was full with regret. I'm sorry, Maria. Don't worry, Shadow. We can still win this. Knuckles chimed in, though he was incredibly winded from trying to use the Master Emerald. Sonic is right. Chaos only used the negative powers of the Chaos Emeralds. You two can still use the positive energy to turn super. With the plan agreed upon, Sonic and Shadow raced around the arena, grabbing all the drained Chaos Emeralds. With that, Sonic and Shadow raised their hands together, their hearts and minds combined as one, in a joint effort to protect everyone who lived on Earth. Their positive emotions brought back the color to the Chaos Emeralds as they began to swirl around the two hedgehogs. And so, in a blinding flash of golden light, the two hedgehogs entered their super forms. Super Sonic and Super Shadow flew off to face Perfect Chaos. The water kaiju had already ripped its way through the Eclipse Cannon, determined to stop the Ark, not understanding that it was largely the reason the Ark was still falling. Sonic yelled up at Shadow. Shadow, we need to neutralize his negative energy. Perhaps if we use a combined chaos control, we can both wipe out his form and stop the Ark from collapsing. Sounds good to me. Let's do it to it. Both Super Sonic and Super Shadow joined together as they rocketed up towards the Ark. At the epicenter of this supersonic double boost, both Sonic and Shadow united their powers, enunciating the words, Chaos Control! Perfect Chaos and the entire Ark was engulfed in positive chaos energy before returning to its orbital position, and Chaos being returned to his zero form. Tragically, the shockwave of the super chaos control was enough to send Shadow hurtling towards the planet below, but he was satisfied knowing that he had saved Maria's world. Chaos reawoke in his zero form. He felt nothing but disgrace for what he had done. He had almost destroyed the entire world. He had almost killed all the Chow in a blind attempt to save them. Chaos felt as if he should be sealed away in the Master Emerald once more. It's what he deserves, after all. And although some of the heroes likely held a similar opinion, most of them were nothing if not forgiving. However, Chaos did agree to help Knuckles find the pieces of the Master Emerald once more, seeing as he did scatter them across the Ark. As his treasure hunt began, and the events of Sonic Adventure 2 came to an end, Chaos realized he had a lot to learn about where the line was drawn between Protector and Destroyer. And this is where we'll be leaving this What If for right now. I'm Comic Fan 13, and I hope you all have a good day.